people are giving up too fast from this kind of business model, and that's why a lot of people are not treating the dropshipping as a real business.
So, Martin, again, thanks for joining. I'm not really sure how this one came around. This one was, it's something that I wanted to cover, and I definitely wanted to cover the dropshipping piece. And I've had a quick browse on your LinkedIn yesterday, and you seem to be the man to talk about it. You seem to have a lot of knowledge in the sector. So from that perspective, look, I want to get right into this one. So could you just please give myself and equally all of the listeners who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into more about dropshipping.
For sure, yeah. So my name is Martin, and we started this journey, this project, Droppshipping.com, 1 year ago actually. Previously we were in this space for more than 10 years, doing different stuff, covering the same e-commerce ecosystem. And what we thought that it's essential to kind of invent in this space of e-commerce is that we need a media company that will cover everything that's related to dropshipping. So everything is a pretty huge word to say right now, but I think with this premium domain, we can probably say that we keep on creating and building content first on the one side, directories, and tools that dropshippers will need during their journey from the starting point to scaling and then becoming big success stories. So actually what we do is we aggregate content, we are building community for dropshippers, and we are trying to give them all the tools they will need to accomplish step by step from starting to scaling their store. So first we have articles on one side, then we have directory for e-commerce apps, then we cover all the platforms they can build their stores. Also, we have working with different parties like suppliers or product owners or people that are just creating different mentorship programs. So we're building one space for almost everything dropshipping. It will be a community and a media, so people can get to dropshipping.com to learn how to start, how to scale, to find tools, to find gadgets, to find widgets, to find suppliers, and they can communicate directly from this platform. So we are not a software company, we are not building software from one side, and also we are not a typical agency or mentoring company because that's our goal. We don't want to become a guru in this space because a lot of people are claiming themselves as gurus in this kind of online businesses. And our goal is to be as objective as possible, to give them the chance to start in this competitive niche. So basically, that's the whole idea about Droppshipping.com.
That's interesting. I think personally, I believe that every company should be a media company before anything these days. I think the way that people consume content, and the way that people shop these days, I think you are a media company before you're anything else. You've got to be able to create content. You've got to be able to do what you do. So from that perspective, it'd be really good to give the listeners and equally myself some context as to what dropshipping is, of what the benefits of it are, and we're going to dive into that. So just give us an overview of what dropshipping is, because I'm mindful not a lot of people are aware of it, or equally how it works.
Yeah, it's a kind of a business model, e-commerce retail model that allows stores to sell products without keeping any physical inventory. So that's the purest version of what dropshipping is. And in dropshipping, the retailer, online retailer, sells the product to the customer, then passes on the sales to a third-party supplier, and who then ships the order directly to the customer on behalf of the retailer. So that's the third-party ecosystem that dropshipping covers. And dropshipping sellers do not need to invest in any product inventory, warehouse, storage space, and do not handle the whole fulfillment process. So they basically do the reselling model. And due to overhead entry costs and simplicity of starting this kind of business, it has become so popular and convenient business model in the e-commerce space, who can run profitable stores with easy setup and so little risk of failing. And that's why dropshipping has been a contributor to the e-commerce space in the past decade, that allowed many players to saturate markets and with niche offerings on almost any niche that sells and covers physical products. So that's how dropshipping works, and there are a lot of benefits, but the biggest one is you don't keep inventory. You just create your store, find a good product and good supplier, and whenever someone buys from your store, you pass the sales order to the third-party fulfillment center.
Interesting. I think from my perspective, the way I think of that and the way I think, because what I want to do is to dive into a little bit around the consumer journey, as if I was, I buy an awful lot of things online, scarily amount of things online. There must be a package coming to my place every day. But from that perspective, does a consumer know that they're buying from a dropshipper, or are they just consuming an online journey as if they were buying from a normal retailer? Is that something that we could dive into a little bit? Because I think that's important from a consumer journey perspective. Are consumers aware that they're buying from a dropshipper, or are they just buying from any normal retailer and they just the order turns up when there is expected to?
Yeah, it's hard to distinguish those two things, because there are a lot of people that are selling their own products online with their own store. And the only difference that you can spot you're buying from a dropshipper is the shipping time. Actually, a lot of dropshippers are starting with the AliExpress business model. So they just find a product from Alibaba and they sell that to the customer on their store. The fulfillment center works on behind, and then the customer is actually waiting for 3 to 4 weeks. So that's kind of the tricky part of dropshipping, and that's why a lot of people have trust issues in this kind of business model, because of the shipping time and the quality of products. So that's how you can spot someone is trying just to increase the price and they're selling you products from China. And one of our main goals with this business model of Droppshipping.com, how we want to teach people to do that better, is to find a lot of other options for people not to do the same thing that was working 5-6 years ago. Because everyone wants good customer support, everyone wants to get the products faster, and everyone wants high quality products. So it's not just you find a product and sell that to a customer. On this side, I can mention also the big marketplaces. So if you can buy your product from Amazon or eBay, why on earth you will wait for 3 weeks from some untrustworthy website to order a product that you were actually seeing for a first time? There are a lot of things that we need to consider in this space, but I think people are aware of this thing, and they start to notice that you should invest in knowledge, time, and good suppliers to become a real e-commerce seller, because dropshipping is just the entry point. With dropshipping, I will say you're testing the market, the niche, and then you will become e-commerce. And there are a lot of opportunities how you can scale with your custom domain, your custom product, your custom supplier. You can personalize your products, and you can be a better customer service. You can offer a better customer service than any other, so you can be actual e-commerce owner, not just a dropshipper.
Yeah, you mentioned it then. You mentioned the word marketplace. And to be honest, when I first was exposed or told about drop shipping, first question I asked myself was, well, how's that different to a marketplace? And from that perspective, I thought to myself, well, let's break it down. So the element of drop shipping is anyone like you or me creates a website, and we contact suppliers, and we simply process the order, and then we send that order to the supplier, and the supplier then fulfills that order and gets it sent off. But the marketplace is slightly the opposite. The marketplace element is myself. I have a platform, and then the business comes and advertises their services on my platform or sells on my platform. But all I am is the platform. I don't do anything else. So that's the main difference, right? Have I got that right?
Yeah, that's one of the main differences. But the other one is, in this case, you're ordering products in bulk. So you're not fulfilling on demand. You're ordering, for example, with MOQ, minimum order quantity, from the supplier. Let's say, for example, in China again, because a lot of people are doing the exact same process. You're ordering that, you're sending that to the warehouse, for example, Amazon warehouses. And whenever someone buys from your shop on Amazon, then the Amazon warehouses and fulfillment centers, they're shipping the product to the customer. So that's one of the biggest differences from the classic dropshipping or e-commerce sales model, where you are selling from your own custom domain. And also the marketing side. In this case, the marketplace covers half of the advertising efforts, because you're listing your store, your products, and you should invest a little bit of time and efforts in just trying to be on top of that product search. So that's the two main differences in this case.
Okay, interesting. So just taking a slightly different direction then, you mentioned a bit of the evolution with dropshipping and how that's changed. From now I understand the model and the business model a little bit more. I'm assuming, I don't like to assume because I'm usually disappointed. However, I'm going to assume that COVID was probably a bit of a boost for the industry, right? So people wanted to make money from home. They wanted to see what options, can they create a store, contact suppliers, get things shipped. How can I make money from home? You know, a lot of people didn't have jobs. It was a case of people were losing their jobs. So I'm assuming that COVID was a big boost for the industry.
That's true, yeah. Actually, dropshipping as a business model achieved its peak around 2017-18. But again, when the pandemic hits, people switch to buying online. And it's not just the supply of people who want to start online businesses, but the demand increases in that period of time, because, you know, we were under lockdown, and people are actually switching to buy online. And in this case scenario, we have doubled the numbers of online stores. So I cannot distinguish how many of them were actual dropshipping stores or just retailers, brick and mortar retailers switching to online selling business model. But yeah, the pandemic was a huge booster for this kind of businesses, and not just dropshipping, any kind of online business, starting from affiliate marketing to the crypto space and everything that you can be doing from home. So the pandemic was a huge icebreaker for everyone who wants to sell online.
Yeah, for sure. So again, slightly different direction. Talk to me about the categories that we tend to see dropshippers participate in. So what are they selling? You know, what's the typical thing that you might find a dropshipper actually participating in as an industry? What are they selling, and kind of how are they selling it?
Yeah, basically people are selling 90% of the time physical products. So there is a drop servicing, that's a different category, where you just drop shipping services. So let's say, for example, a marketing agency, they will become your supplier of services, and you just find customers for them. So you're dropping the service. They fulfill the actual work, and you're the one who resells. That can be connected to the affiliate marketing model, but most of the time people are selling physical products. And we can divide this in 4 different categories. So the first and most popular dropshipping category is the classic product reselling. So that's the most common type, where a company finds product from a variety of sources, suppliers, and makes them available for online purchase in one place, on your store or the marketplace. Then we have a business extensions as a kind of a dropshipping business model. And this is when you don't have time, funds, or knowledge to put your online business, you're looking for someone to resell your product. So it's a kind of an extension for the brick and mortar retail model of selling. Then we have a classic product creation. So it's not just finding a product that already exists. Actually, you are looking to create a product, but because you are just a reseller, you don't have the time, you don't have the knowledge how to create the product. You just find a supplier or manufacturer who will build that product for you if you promise them a good amount of sales, good customer support, good website, and they create the product, they ship the product to the customer, but you're the one who is inventing and kind of designing that product for them, for the manufacturer. And one of the also the most popular models of dropshipping is print on demand. So basically, this type of dropshipping is when a company wants to sell product that have either text or image printed on them. So it's a merchant companies, people who are selling kind of t-shirts or mugs, curtains, or pet food bowls. So a lot of companies are doing this kind of service because they are the middleman. You just go to the website, create your own design, then the company puts that design on the product you want to sell. It connects your design to your store actually, and then whenever someone buys the product from your store, the printing company, the middleman, is printing that on demand and sending the product to your customer who actually purchased from your website. So those are the four main types of dropshipping and selling physical products.
Thanks. It's interesting because from that perspective, I want to take this now in a slightly different direction in regards to getting people started on dropshipping. So how do what should people be aware of when looking to venture into dropshipping? It's because again, for me, I could be a dropshipper if I wanted to. I just wouldn't know where to start, what to do, and who to talk to about it. So, help people understand that a little bit more, and give them some tricks and some hacks about how they can start, and equally what they should be aware of if they do start.
Yeah, interesting. Of course, a lot of people on the internet are claiming themselves like, I can help you. You can start dropshipping. You can start affiliate marketing online, and you can become richer in 1 week. And that's why I'm trying to put all those disclaimers in the first place whenever I give feedback or advice to dropshippers who actually want to start today. And there are a lot of general stuff to say in this point where I can just talk about, hey, you just need to start create your store. You need to find a good product, and you need to become good at marketing. Those are the three general pillars of dropshipping. And if you manage to do them right, then you can become actually successful. There's no doubt about that. But there are a lot of small things and myths and problems that we need to address whenever someone is thinking to start in the first place. I know that it's not kind of science fiction to just actually open a store and start selling online. You can do that in 24 hours, but you need to be aware of what it takes and how you need to fulfill the gap from just wanting the idea of having an online business and actually executing that. So a few tips that I have top of my mind for new dropshippers who are considering to start that right now is it's better to find a niche market than creating a general store. You need to find one product store, test it out, learn the basics, maybe fail, you will fail, maybe you will get something right, but you'll learn and you'll not spend a lot of money while testing that. Then you should find a good product. That's kind of cliche, but the research of the product is essential. And then you can find the product, but you should consider who is selling that product. So don't just go for AliExpress or Alibaba kind of suppliers, because I know it's easier to start, but it will cost you on long term. And then I will say the research is necessary to find the supplier and a product, but the research to find the right marketing tactics, marketing angles. In this case scenario, I will say, if you have internet connection and a TikTok account, you can become the top tier marketer in a week. If you know how to film the product that you have, if you know how to post it and to create story around that, you will become the biggest marketing in the room in the dropshipping space. And on the technical side, people who are actually just starting, they should consider about the e-commerce platform they are selling on. They should be aware of the legal stuff, because it's a kind of a thing in this space that you don't need to register a firm in the first place. You can start actually selling right away, and then if you start scaling, then you can consider hiring people, getting yourself accountant, trying to build a company around the dropshipping store. And a lot of people are messing around about the payments and the pricing points of the product, because they don't know how to calculate the margins. They're just finding the product, they add something on top of the selling price, but they forget to add all the costs that you have actually, the marketing cost, the paying for all the subscriptions, tools, and that's why you can say you can start dropshipping for free, but please be concerned about all those hiding costs that you will have alongside the journey. So those are the basic tips I can give to someone that's actually starting right away.
Because I see it on TikTok all the time. Like scrolling through TikTok, and I see all of these shops come up that conveniently I can buy, I don't know, a DJI drone for 60% cheaper than if I was to go and buy it from any main manufacturer or main retailer. So, I mean, from your perspective, what does that make you think, and what do you think that makes consumers think? Well, how are you selling it for 60% less than where I would normally go and get it from? Does that not ring alarm bells in your head a little bit as to, well, how's he doing it? Is it the real thing? How do you tackle that? Because I want to dive into a little bit about the myths and your pet peeves around the industry. But that's the question that I ask myself is, well, how are TikTokers doing it for that price over if I was to go and buy it from a real retailer?
Yeah, here we again touch the question of where the TikToker is sourcing the product. So they are just going and finding the cheapest product because they want to test it, and probably they're buying in bulk. So you can get a lot of discounts from your suppliers. And from ethical standpoint, if you can do that from your supplier, you have advantage, and that's totally right. But underpricing the product, it can lead to misconception from your consumer. And one thing here is that a lot of people are doing that as a bite. So they're lowering the price of one product that will lead people to the website, and then they can upsell other things to the customer. So overall profit margin will be in above the zero. So they will make some money on top of that, but they're finding lead product for a cheaper price, so people can actually trigger themselves to visit the website. So a lot of time this is a legal option to do, but in the end of the day, it's up to the customer to consider all the things around that product. If you're just clicking from TikTok and buying the product, then it's your mistake. You should visit the website. You should see the trust badges. You should look for reviews. You should try to test the product. You should consider if they're offering a refund policy, free testing, or something like that, and then you can make the buying decision.
Do you think, again, I'm playing devil's advocate on your whole industry here, but do you think that this is kind of the modern day get rich quick scheme?
Of course, people are considering. That's something we can discuss for days, and we will never find that right answer. Depends who are asking, and I think everything that you can start online, and if you want to become richer in just 1 or 2 days, you can do that. But it's about who is selling and passing that information. the rich quick scheme is something that a lot of gurus that I mentioned before are trying to sell to people who are desperate to make a side hustle or money on a side. And they do that just for a purpose to sell their courses, their mentorship programs, their community membership subscriptions. And I think that's the biggest myth in the dropshipping industry. One of 1,000 people can get rich overnight in dropshipping space. And you can maybe replace that with luck or just finding the right product or being on time, but nobody is getting rich in just a few days while selling physical products. And it's the same question in almost every of these new industries, crypto, NFTs, affiliate marketing, coaching, social media marketing agencies. Everyone is selling the dream of getting rich quick. And in the end of the day, that's why people are not trusting these models and the process, and they're not willing to put the efforts of learning the basics, because they think if some guru on YouTube can do that, I can do that the same. So a lot of ethical questions in this space, but in the end of the day, the evolution says that dropshipping is here for a while. It's the model that people always resell products from another supplier. And the term of dropshipping is popular for a decade, but dropshipping is here for a while. And that's why I trust the whole ecosystem if you do that right, and if you consider all the aspects from being good at your customer service, finding good products, doing ethical marketing, and selling on the right platform with the right tools. People are tending to skip a few processes, right? Like creating a real store, like having good payment processors, like you guys are doing, and that's the kind of a hard stuff to deal with when you start without the knowledge.
Yeah, I'm going to dive into a little bit on that. I'm not conscious of time on this one because this is where I think it's really important. If somebody wants to do drop shipping right, it's almost like, well, if someone wants to become an online retailer, they've got to do things correctly. And from that perspective, it's, you recommend platforms, you're a media company, and based on that, I mean, how important is the online journey from a customer perspective in the dropshipping space? Like, we talk about it a lot for retailers, providing, seamless checkouts, this, that, and the other when it comes to it. But dropshipping is such a competitive space. Like you say, there could be multiple dropshippers selling the same product, and the price is the only thing that differs. So then it comes down to the customer journey. Who does people feel trust more? Do you know what I mean? So how important is that aspect of becoming a dropshipper and getting that online process right?
The whole process of dropshipping is pretty simple, and it should be. It's not like the traditional retail space. It's not like selling your own products. You're not building a software. You're not inventing something. You're just reselling products that already exist. And in this case, the process is pretty simple, but people should take care of all the aspects. They jump straight to building a nice logo, a nice company name, and then boosting that with paid advertising. And after 2 weeks, they give up because they are not they're not taking care of all the aspects. People should think of like building any other business. Despite that you're not selling a product or building a software or a service, they should take care of all the aspects, starting from, as I said, finding the product and supplier on one side, and then the technical side, building the website, finding the platform, connecting the payment processor, building the policies, the trust pages, and giving the right contact for people to reach out. Then you should consider buying your own domain. Then you can create portals so people can get in touch with you and try to test your product. And on the third side is the marketing side. It's easy to start with filming one video and posting on TikTok, but it's a lot more than that. You should consider advertising costs. You should consider influencers. partnership, different referral programs. And right now, I think I mentioned 10 stuff at once, and for those beginners, it will look like it's a lot of job to do. But basically, it is if you want to succeed, because it's easy to start, it's hard to succeed. That's the premises in all the online businesses, not just dropshipping. And if there are a lot of easy barriers to enter this space, it doesn't mean you can get rich overnight. Again, we are touching base to that question, but the whole process of dropshipping should be simple, but should be executed right. And that's what we are actually doing at Droppshipping.com, to explain the whole process from zero to hero. So yeah.
Yeah, and on that, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned being in dropshipping? Again, this is going to fall well with people that are A, looking to do it, or B, have started and are on that journey now. So what advice have you got for those people, or those, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned that's just going to be gold dust for these people that are looking to start, or equally have started and are on that journey?
As I mentioned, the biggest lesson that I learned from not just dropshipping business, I was in the agency space, I was selling services, we are building e-commerce platforms and different ventures behind this project. But what I learned is exactly that I mentioned before. It's so easy to start nowadays, but it's pretty hard to succeed. That's the absolute truth for any business. And people tend to start new ventures, jump from trend to trend to find the next big thing, and then they blame the business model or the sources they trust. It's really hard to succeed nowadays, where everyone with a laptop and internet connection can start an online business. Dropshipping included in this story. But what differs the winners from the losers is the consistency and the willingness to learn what it takes to get from point A to point B. We all look for a shortcut, and that's why some people don't trust this business model. They are looking only for the final result. And I don't blame the beginners. I blame those who are serving that story. The millionaires with the Bugatti and getting rich overnight. I blame them, because nobody is talking about the right software you need, the right tools you need, the marketing steps you need to consider, and that's why we sometimes consider ourselves like university, not a course, not just a blog post where you can learn everything about dropshipping. We want to touch base on all the aspects of dropshipping, e-commerce, marketing, software, suppliers, how you can communicate with those people, and also the motivation you need to have in yourself, because motivation doesn't come first. Motivation comes after you taking the action. So that's why we're building this premium medium to answer and connect all the dots that I mentioned in the whole interview right now. From starting to the end, you need to follow the process, and I know everyone can succeed. That's how the business works, and if you consider this as a business, I think there's no doubt you can succeed. But the biggest problem is that nobody is willing to stick and focus on one thing. So that's what I learned, and that's what right now I'm 100% focused only on building this medium. I was looking also for shortcuts, how I can try this. Okay, hey, NFTs. How can I connect NFTs with dropshipping? I'm trying that for 1 month, then I'm switching to the next big thing. Okay, now we have trendy. This is trend. Let's try this. Next thing is, hey, I have partners who are looking for building a platform for them. Okay, we are doing the platform building thing. No, I said, okay, stop. Focus on one thing, do that right, and then we can try to build on top of that. So that's my biggest lesson for people who are just tending to start any kind of business, not just dropshipping.
Yeah, and again, I think it falls into the mindset of, it's the journey that matters, not the end goal, right? It's the journey,
For sure.
the process, because not everyone's motivated to do something on a daily basis, but it's the discipline that keeps you going, and the discipline of getting the journey right, enjoying the journey as you're moving, and then when the goals come, goalposts move. You might think a goal is massively unattainable until you attain it, and then you only set another one. So from that perspective, what is one mental framework, mental habit that you've picked up in your career that you would advise just anyone, not dropshippers, but retailers or just general people listening today? What's a mental framework or a mental habit that you think so valuable that has put you, set you aside and you think is so valuable to you?
Connected to my previous answer, the mental framework that I tend to follow is just do it. Don't wait for the motivation. Especially in this space of dropshipping, people are just following the process and the idea of creating something, and they're looking 10 steps ahead without considering starting to execute the first step. So what I learned from all the endeavors that I went through in my career of marketing, doing things, is that it's easy to think about things, it's hard to take action and execute them. And we are looking for external motivation, we are looking for external affirmations, we are looking for shortcuts, we are looking for okay, if this doesn't work, I can try the next thing. And the only thing in this space of overwhelming information over the internet, fast-changing environment, war problems with the pandemic, the war, the economic crisis, the biggest problem is how to keep calm and focus to actually get the work done. And it's not about the knowledge, it's not about the skill, it's not about how much you know, it's about actually executing that when you don't feel that you actually want to do that. So it's not about the motivation, it's about doing things whenever. Let's say, for example, this morning I didn't get up and I wasn't happy. Hey, today I have 10 calls, I have 1 podcast to film, I have 100 mails to answer. But I sit down and start doing one thing at a time. So,
but that's the discipline. That's the discipline. Yeah. That's what I was saying before. It's the fact that not every day we wake up and think, "Oh my god, I can't wait to do my job today." Yeah. There are days when you're like that, but there's days when you're like, "Oh my god, I really can't be asked to do my job today." But it's the discipline of get up, do the routine, and keep going, and then all of a sudden, you're back in it again. You found that motivation, and it's that constant discipline that keeps you going, and that motivation just comes from that discipline, and it's got to be you just got to keep pushing through, for sure. Yeah, I fully agree with that.
And that's why I'm so fully mentioning and sticking to this discipline focus point, because it's the same what we are trying to teach in our community of dropshipping. People, okay, they can find something, a product or a vision on how they can sell products online, and they test the first product and they give up, and that's totally fine. If that's not for you, okay, nobody says that everyone can be a seller, a marketer, a business owner, but if you just test a product for a day with one marketing tactic, with one store, it doesn't mean the business model is not working. And then they are blaming people who are teaching them, the suppliers, the product, the marketing, the space, the environment. And in the end of the day, it's not about just jumping and trying to get a bit of that. And then it's like you're listening for one song from Drake, and then you don't like Drake. Try to listen to all the songs. And okay, I'm giving random metaphors, but I think people are giving up too fast from this kind of business model, and that's why a lot of people are not treating the dropshipping as a real business. It's like a high school project. Okay,
yeah,
I can test one product.
It comes with that mindset, doesn't it? Get rich quick. And if it does come with that, then unfortunately, a lot of people are going to have that mindset. And like you say, if it doesn't succeed within the first week because they've posted 4 TikTok videos about a product they've tested once, they're like, well, I didn't make any money this week, so it's not a get rich quick scheme, is it? You know, so, and that's the kind of mindset that I think a lot of these people are in. And
that's right.
But, you know, when you start a new project, people... This podcast came out of absolutely nowhere, and you know, do you think that I was successful from the start? You know, there was multiple times when I filmed multiple things that didn't work, multiple strategies I've tried in the past that didn't work, that completely flopped and failed. But all I know is that I'm not going to do them again. You know, just because they don't work, it just doesn't mean that you're a complete failure and what you do is wrong. Try something else. You know, TikTok might not work for you. Video as a whole might not work for you. Try audio, try written word, try whatever it might be that you as a person are good at. You know, because a lot of people don't get me wrong, video and image and all that kind of stuff is great. But if that's not the type of person you are, you don't have to do that. You know, I think we're in a world now where everyone thinks that that's the case, and it's not.
Yeah, of course, and the information overflow. So there are a lot of information bombing people. And the one big thing that we want to change with Droppshipping.com is to give them clarity. I don't blame the people. I don't blame the beginners, especially those people who are just ending up high school or university and they want to start something. They have this pressure that they need to succeed because of those rich people on Instagram. And I don't blame them. I blame the people who are serving that information. And a lot of things that in this space, almost every businesses are tending to just start things and never finish them because of lacking of information or too much information about one topic. They don't know what's the next step. And that's why I started this interview, this podcast with, we are dropshipping, a media for everything dropshipping. That I don't want to use the word everything because I want to narrow down. We can find you a supplier. We can build a community, a network, so you can find peers, like-minded people who you can discuss and actually learn from real examples. People who are making 500 on a site. We don't want to teach people, hey, you can make millions. You just need to start making 200 per month, and that's enough. You're on a good path to build a full-time business for you. So that's what we are trying to do here. Okay, they have softwares. For example, a lot of people are considering what's the payment gateway they need to use. And our job is to find a way, because of course I'm not that technical guy to know everything about the space. But we have a team, we have a community who can help you. They can review other softwares, they can review payment gateways, they can review suppliers or maybe fulfillment companies. The space is huge, and if you have knowledge for every step of the journey, nobody can stop you. So it should be simple, but it's not.
Well, exactly. Nothing ever is if it's worth doing, right? So if it's worth doing, it's never that easy. But listen, I've really enjoyed this one. What I just want to end out with giving you a bit of a platform to tell people where they can find you. We're aware of get my words out in a minute, dropshipping.com. But where else can people find you on social media? Where can they get hold of you?
Yeah, so we are holding this premium domain. It's our luck to have dropshipping.com. That's why we are claiming, and that's why we are growing so fast. So basically, every single social media, they can just type dropshipping.com and they can find us on TikTok, LinkedIn, Reddit, Quora. We have a lot of spaces with big communities where people engage, discuss opportunities, how they did stuff. And on Facebook, we have a group. And of course, on the website, they can find the premium community. It's free to join. We're not charging people. We work with businesses, so that's why I want to put that disclaimer. We're not selling any kind of courses or something like that. We do have one premium community that people should pay to get access to all the subscription models and all the courses that we have. But it's just $20, and I think everyone can afford, because people are paying thousands of dollars for courses from those gurus just to learn the same information that you can find on a blog post. And that's why I said the information should be free. The execution is hard. The information and dreaming is free. So nobody can stop you from starting, learning, and dreaming big, but people should get the work done. And that's what we are doing at Droppshipping.com. So just type Droppshipping.com on almost any platform on the internet and you can find us.
That's awesome. Martin, look, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us. I think this has been really great and I've really enjoyed your company. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I enjoyed the conversation, and I think we can help someone who is actually considering to start this kind of business, or somebody who is actually doing dropshipping kind of e-commerce, so they can scale it. And in the end of the day, it's about helping and giving to others. And I think with this ecosystem that we are building together in this space of e-commerce, we can grow together. So that's the point of Droppshipping.com. That's the point of these interviews that we are trying to give.
Correct,
and
yeah.
pass the information to people who need that.
Great. No, I really appreciate that. Thanks for your time, Martin.
Thank you.